I'm actually low-key scared to do this video because I feel like I might ruffle a few feathers with this one. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is something a bit different from me, but it's a video that I have been wanting to do for a very long time, and today's video is going to be all about editing on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok even, as I have come to learn, which I didn't even know was a thing, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm a little bit mind blown by it. I have wanted to do this video for so long, but I'm glad I've waited until now to do it, because I feel like if I'd have done this maybe like 6 months ago, it wouldn't have had as much empathy. Maybe there wouldn't have been as much empathy in the video. So what do I want the outcome of this video to be? Let's go over that first of all. I'm not naive. The outcome of this video is not going to be everyone that follows me, that watches this video, that edits their pictures, puts down Facetune, puts down Photoshop, puts down PrettyUp, FaceApp, whatever it is that they use, and says, do you know what, I'm not doing this anymore because amyrookes said it's bad. I don't think that's going to be the outcome of this video. If this video helps one person realise the damage that they are doing to themselves in editing their pictures, brilliant. Like, that to me would be a good takeaway from this video. But the main reason why I'm doing this video is because I'm not naive. Editing has been around for years and years and years. Before social media, you had magazine, editorial editing, which obviously still goes on now, but it's, I mean, social media has kind of overtaken the print world, so everything's a lot more digital now. So people have been doing this for years. They've done it for years. They'll continue to do it for years. It's not going to stop, and that is why I want to do this video. If people aren't going to stop doing it, fine, cool, knock yourself out, go for it. The least we can try and do is educate people on the fact that people do edit their photos, because some people actually don't some people still think it's just like magazines and celebrities that edit their pictures, and it's not. I personally know people who are not influencers. They are normal, I hate that word, but normal people, just your standard human being, and they edit their pictures. Some of them edit their pictures more than some influencers that I know. So we're living through a time now where it's not just your celebrities, it's not just your magazines, it's everywhere. It's all across social media, mainly Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, maybe, I don't know, I only really use that to share like memes and stuff and share Facebook memories. So we're living through a time now where editing is no longer just something that celebrities do, and we can look at a magazine and just take that with a pinch of salt and think, yeah, well, that's obviously been airbrushed and edited, we know that. We're living through a time where everyone's doing it, and because everyone's doing it, I don't think people realise, one, how much people can edit, but two, how many people are actually editing. Like, the volume of people that are reshaping themselves on social media into something that is not what they actually look like. I want to make sure that people can spot an edited picture. They know the telltale signs where possible, because some people, I'm not gonna lie guys, some people will be either one, very good at editing, or they will hire like your big influencers like Kim Kardashian, for example. I'm pretty sure she will have professional editors who do her photos for her, who, you know, it's gonna be, little old me, it's gonna be very hard for me to spot and edit. Although, to be fair, there are some slip-ups sometimes, not gonna lie. And the reason why I want people to be able to tell an edited picture is not, and I want this to be super clear, is not so they can comment saying this is edited, stop editing, and give people shit for it. That is not the path that I want people to go down. I just want people to be able to spot it, so they can clock it on their Instagram feed, think, oh, that's edited, cool picture, but it's edited, take it with a pinch of salt, keep scrolling. Or if they choose to do so and they don't want to follow people who are editing their pictures, unfollow that person. I don't want anyone to be sending like hate people's way and being like, oh, I know that this is a sign, I know that you've edited this. Because let's be very clear, we all have insecurities. I've got insecurities, and the people who are editing their photos, they're not doing it for the fun of it, guys. They're doing it because they have insecurities. So these people who are editing, they are insecure about things and they're not happy with the way that they look, and the worst thing that we can then do is point out what they've edited, because you are essentially pointing out their insecurity. And I don't agree with that, and that is why in this video I'm going to be using examples of myself. I've gone on Facetune, I've gone on PrettyUp, those kinds of apps, and I've edited myself rather than edit, you know, screenshotting some influencers' posts or some normal people's posts and showing you the telltale signs that way, because that just made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. These people are already very, very insecure to be editing their pictures in the first place, and I'm not saying that as like a sly dig or a disrespectful remark. It's just like the facts. You're not, these people, you know, they've got issues with how they look. That is why people edit, and I don't want to make that any worse personally by poking holes in people's selfies, in people's pictures. So that's why in this video I will be using myself. So let's go into the background of editing before I get into probably the more interesting part of the video, which is what most people are here for. And I just want to go over some research, some TED Talks, all that sort of stuff. So whilst I was getting ready to film this video, I actually watched a very interesting TED Talk on Instagram, editing, self-esteem, all that sort of stuff, and I'm gonna leave that link down below. It's about 15 minutes long and it's really, really good. A lot of the research that they used in that is a lot of the research that I found on preparation for this video, and I would definitely recommend, you know, even if you're someone who doesn't edit, or if you are someone who does edit, that you go and look at that. I also want to make it very clear that when I'm talking about editing in this video, I'm not talking about apps like Lightroom. Like, full disclaimer, I use Lightroom to edit my pictures. I used to use Facetune on my pictures. I used to really smooth out my skin. I've realised it looked ridiculous and I don't use it anymore. I use Lightroom to change the lighting. I can sometimes turn up saturations, change the colours basically of pictures. It's basically like a personalised filter, because I don't like the makeshift ones because they're just a bit rubbish. In this video, I'm talking about editing as in literally changing the shape of your body, altering the way that you look using apps. I'm not talking about, you know, a coloured filter. I'm not talking about removing some underwear from the background. I'm not talking about that, just to be clear. And for context, if you are new here, I am in the fitness space. I'm an online coach, and I also do some influencing work on the side. I work with Alphalete, which is a fitness apparel brand, and so when I'm doing this video, I am kind of gonna gear it more towards the fitness side of things, because I don't think people realize that people, you know, fitness influencers and all that sort of stuff, they've got amazing bodies but they're still editing. So this video might kind of be skewed in some areas to the fitness side of things, but it's all still very relevant regardless of the industry that you're looking at. So let's go over some research in general. I'm not going to go in depth. I might leave like a compiled link down below. If people want to refer to things, let me know and I will put that together so that you can go and read through things. I'm just going to basically summarize the different points that I've got from the papers I've looked at, from the articles I've looked at. Yeah, so we already know from research that the use of apps like Photoshop, and Facetune wasn't included in this, but the things that you would do on Facetune are the things that you would do on Photoshop. It's basically a more accessible, easy to use version. I've used Photoshop. I did GCSE photography. I don't find it that easy to use. Use of those applications has been linked to lower self-esteem. We also know that things like body dysmorphic disorder are on the rise, and it seems to be rising quite sharply with the rise of the use of social media apps, especially in the younger generation. If I'm looking over here at all, it's because I'm reading my notes, but we also know that, like I said with the point before, body dysmorphia, the more girls are engaging in photo editing, the worse their self-esteem is getting. And researchers have found that teenage girls who are manipulating their photos are more likely to be concerned with their body appearance, and those with dysmorphic body image seek out social media as a means of validation. The more likely you are to suffer from things like body dysmorphic disorder, low self-esteem, the more likely you are to edit, and then the more likely you are to use social media as a means of validation for how you look and to get compliments and stuff. Now the problem there is the compliments that you are getting, the compliments that these people who are editing their pictures are getting, it's not a compliment to them. They don't look like that. It's a compliment to an edited version of themselves that does not exist. And we know from multiple different areas of research to do with general overall happiness and well-being. Unhappiness in a lot of scenarios stems from the difference between your expectations and reality. Now let's say young girls are putting their expectations at, you know, their peers, influencers, edited images, and the people who do edit, they're putting their expectations at the edited version of themselves. The reality is no one looks like that. It's not real, it's not realistic, and so this is why I personally think we've got so many people really struggling with their confidence, really struggling with how they look, because that gap between expectation and reality, because of all the editing that's going on, is getting bigger and bigger and wider and wider. The apps are getting better, the technology is getting better, it's getting harder and harder to spot and edit, and it's getting easier and easier to edit yourself and to have access to these apps. Just some little statistics regarding social media in general. 2 in 5 girls aged 11 to 16 in the UK have said that they've seen images online that have made them feel insecure or less confident about themselves, and this increases to half in girls aged 17 to 21. Now that is just below my age range. I'm 22 and I don't find these figures hard to believe at all. Like I've just said, we are comparing ourselves to something that literally doesn't exist. So it's no wonder why we are all struggling so much with how we look. And it's no wonder, to be honest, why people think, do you know what, fuck it, if you can't beat them, join them. And people are starting to edit their pictures to fit this standard. Now in this video, I'm going to be focusing more on women, that side of things. As you can probably tell by the research that I have pulled up, the sole reason for this is not to rag on women and women are terrible, we're all so insecure, we all edit our shit. That's not the purpose. My audience is predominantly female. I run a female only online coaching business. All my clients are females, they're all women. I see every day the repercussions that editing, whether it's individuals themselves or just consuming so much edited content without knowing it's edited, is having on people. And because my audience on here and Instagram is predominantly female, I am focusing on that side of things, because I don't think women are going to be comparing the size of their bicep to, you know, Mike Thurston's bicep. I don't think that's going to be happening. You're more likely to make a comparison to another woman than you are a man. So that's just a little bit of background into the research. I mean, the research is pretty clear. Edited images are not good for the individual, and they're also not good for the people who are going to be consuming that content. No one really wins in this scenario, because even if, you know, you are getting so much attention and love and you're able to grow a following from editing yourself to fit into the standard, that's not really going to bring you, the individual doing that, happiness. Now I can't say for sure because I don't know, but I can't imagine it's great for your self-esteem to be getting compliments on something that is not you. Like, you don't look like that, if that makes sense. Like I said, I run a women's only online coaching business, and I know that some people will think, Amy, people edit, it doesn't matter, it's not that deep. And I just don't agree with that at all. I've just gone through the research, and that's like a brief bit of research. The research is very clear. Editing is not good for the individuals doing it, and it's also not good for the people who are then going to be consuming that edited content. You can sit and say it's not that deep until the cows come home. I personally disagree, and there is, you know, a couple reasons for this, but the main one being, I see the repercussions of this every day. I get girls coming to me with body goals of people who are notorious for editing their images. These women that these girls are aiming to look like, those women don't even look like that. Like, their pictures are so edited, and I'm not going to name anyone, but like, they're either incredibly edited or the person has had a BBL and not disclosed it, because that seems to be just the look that everyone wants to go for at the moment. Make of that what you will. That is the look that is getting most requested. I get clients coming to me saying they want to grow the hips. You can't do that. They want to shrink their waist and they want to get a bigger bum. Everyone is after the kind of unattainable Kim Kardashian look, because Kim Kardashian doesn't even look like Kim Kardashian. We saw that a few years ago. So all these girls are coming to me and this is their body goals, that's how they want to look, and they don't realise, and this is kind of what's really spurred me to do this video, they actually genuinely don't realise that these images that they're looking at, they're not real, they're edited. Even the person that they want to look like doesn't look like that. Like, it's not how they look, it's not them, it's not real, it's edited. And like I've said, there is an immense pressure on women to live up to a standard. I don't blame people for editing their pictures. I don't blame people for trying to do things that make them feel more comfortable in the society that we live in, that is so obsessed with how you look. And like, the BBL trend, like I've just said, is very, very, very much in at the moment. But yeah, people can sit there and they can say it's not that deep, it's not that deep, until the cows come home. Talk to me in 10 years when we are growing up with a generation full of kids who don't know what's real and what's not, and have got body dysmorphia from all the shite that they have consumed on social media over the years, which promotes a completely unattainable body standard. Because like I have said about a million times in this video, the people who hold up that standard do not even look like that in real life. It's not real, it's edited. I have a niece who is really, really young. She's way too young to have social media, but my nephew is a couple years older. It really, really concerns me that they are going to grow up through this phase of social media. And that's why I'm very, very, very hot on trying to help people be educated on editing, both on what can be achieved through editing, just how much of a difference you can make. Like, people think it might be like a little tweak. You can completely change how you look with some of these apps, but also see like the telltale signs and kind of talk you through that. I've got my iPad here because I need to pull up the edits that I did. Like I said, I've done the edits for this video on myself, so I'm gonna pop one in first of all, which is going to be a video, and this video is going to show you how I edited myself on Facetune. In this example, I just used a picture of me that I took after my workout. Obviously, I am posing in this picture, so I don't walk around looking like this, but I don't think we need to clarify that. It's quite obvious I do not walk around looking like a teapot. I put it into Facetune, and I mean, you're just gonna watch with me as I do it. I pulled my waist in. I went for a typical fitness influencer edit, which is very common to see. I think when you see the after, you're gonna be quite surprised at how similar this might look to some of the content that you see on your feed. I then pulled my hip out because God forbid anyone have a hip dip. That's practically a crime nowadays. I then made my legs a little bit bigger to balance it out and make my hip look a little bit less crazy and a little bit more realistic. I then had a bit of a nightmare because I kept dragging the inside of my leg too far in. Built my other quad out, stretched that bad boy out, built in like the inside area of my leg. What else did I do? I seem to have stopped. And then I zoomed out, and there you have it. There's a finished product versus the original. Now I'm gonna pop on the screen a side by side of the before and the after, so you can see exactly what I've done to the picture and how much of a difference those tiny little tweaks that I made actually made. My body doesn't look like that, and I'm not gonna lie, I did 2 or 3 of these. I don't know if I'll go through them all. I did do 2 or 3 of these, and then after the third one I was like, I actually can't keep doing this, because I really liked this original picture at first. I thought, oh my god, like my body looks really good in that. And then I did the edited version and I thought, I don't really like the original anymore. There lies the problem with editing your pictures like this. I don't think this is healthy for anyone to be doing as an individual. But here's a side by side, so you've got the before, you've got the after. Not a huge difference, whilst also being a huge difference, if that makes sense. Now, the one thing that concerned me when I did this was, obviously the point of this video is, part of it is to show you like the telltale signs of an edit. There isn't a ton of telltale signs that this has been edited, and that's kind of scary. Normally, if someone pulls their waist in, the forearm area is a very like common giveaway. On this photo, it's not really happened, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm just sick at editing. Kim Kardashian, hit me up if you need help, because this is actually such a clean edit and it took me like 2 minutes. Normally the forearm is a dead giveaway, so the arm where my tattoo is there. I mean, your arm tends to like bulk out this way anyway. But normally in an edit, you can tell it's an edit because someone's forearm is like super wide. It's like the same width as like their upper arm area, which is a dead giveaway because that's just not really a thing. A wrist might normally either look like super skinny if they've pulled like their hip out and their wrist is next to it. It can make your wrist look weirdly small and your hands look stupidly long. But yeah, if someone's pulled their waist in and their forearm is by it, dead giveaway is just how wide it goes and how off it looks if you actually take a minute to look at it. That did not happen with this picture, slightly concerning, but we move. Then we're gonna move on to like the bottom half of this picture, so more like the hip area and the waist. If you look really closely, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to because of the quality that my stuff uploads on in YouTube, the background is obviously a very grainy background. So it's not, there's not a load of straight lines. It's very, very hard to tell. By the way, good luck spotting an edit if someone is standing against a white wall, because that's why most people will take their pictures against a white wall. It's not just so it looks super clean. It's because if you edit something, you literally can't see it because it's a white wall with no shadows on it. But if you look really closely around my hip area, you can kind of see that the grains in the texture of the floor warp in around my hip. Dead giveaway if something is warping in around a body part. So for example, if someone's taken a picture in front of a brick wall or bushes, if every other brick on that wall is straight, I can probably bet £10 that the ones around the waist and hip area, which is typically where people tend to edit, I'm making generalizations here, it's very unlikely that it just is a coincidence that those two bricks are not rectangular and they're actually quite squiggly and bendy in texture and in shape. That's just not really a thing. That's a telltale sign of an edit. Someone's taken a picture in front of plants, a bush. Plants do not, I know that like women are like we're very powerful people, but like plants do not bend to us. We're not superwoman. That's not a thing. That's also a dead giveaway. But yeah, this picture, it is quite hard to tell, but if you do look close, I feel like I would only spot it because I know what I've done to my picture. You can see that the floor kind of warps in around my hip. Last point where it's very obvious, and the same thing about the hip area goes for the quad area and on the inside of the legs. The only other thing where it's very obvious, there is a man on Instagram doing this at the moment. I'm not sure I want to name him just because he is literally calling out every man and their dog, and I'm not 100% sure I agree with the way he's going about it. Just my opinion. I just think if people are already editing their pictures, they're probably super insecure. The last thing you want is to be sending like that hundreds of thousands of views on a video exposing them for editing. I don't know how I feel about it. It makes me a bit uncomfortable. But what he's doing, which is a really good way of spotting an edit if there's any straight lines in the picture, is like a red line theory. So he'll put like straight red lines through a picture, and it's very easy to spot where something's been edited because a line will bend. So in this picture, if he was to look at it, he would probably put a straight line across the bottom of the lockers. Now in the picture on the left, those lockers are going in a straight line. The shadow is also in a straight line. Whereas in the picture on the right, if you look really closely, there's almost like a curve to the shadow and the bottom of the lockers, and that is where I've pulled my quad out and also where I've pulled my waist in. It's very, very, very subtle, which is why I said, like, not gonna lie, this is quite scary to look at because it's not that obvious. But that is one like telltale sign of an edit. There's a couple on there. I did do another one, going straight into this one with the edited version, and then as you can see when I hold my finger down, so this is the edited version, that's non-edited, edited, non-edited. I will do a side by side, and as you will see in the edited version, let me just pause that so I can actually see what's changed in the edited version. So I made my quads bigger, I made my waist smaller, and really, really pulled it in, made my stomach look super, super flat, and I dragged my bum out to make it look bigger. I mean, my body already looked really good in the first one, not gonna lie, but shock horror, I ended up not liking the original after I did the edit. So in the edited one, you can see a lot more telltale signs on this one. Again, because of the like grainy texture of the floor and it's not clear anyway, it's very, very hard to very hard to tell where I've pulled things in and pulled things out on the right hand side. However, on the left where I pulled my bum out, the locker's shadow is literally bending where my glute is, like it's bending in like a curve, which is what I was just talking about with the straight line theory. Those curves would just not be a thing in real life. It's a telltale giveaway of an edit. Now, there will be scenarios where there is something that looks like it's meant to be straight, but it is genuinely bent in a background of someone's picture, which is why I wouldn't recommend ever going in all guns blazing, and just kind of, you know, scrolling, seeing the picture, accepting it for what it is, saying, oh, it's edited, oh, that's a cool picture, but it might be a bit altered with, and then just carrying on with your day and not comparing yourself to something that doesn't exist because it's edited, it's not real. That person doesn't look like that. So yes, that was this little edit that I did on that one. That one was a little bit less extreme. Now I'm just going to show you an example on a holiday kind of picture, because holiday pictures, whether it's a fitness influencer or your everyday Tom, Dick, Harry normal person, or an actual just normal influencer that's not in the fitness space, very common to see edits on bikini pictures for obvious reasons. The pressures and stuff on what women should look like in a bikini is immense. There's so much pressure to look absolutely perfect. I mean, we saw the absolute uproar when those pictures came out of Kim Kardashian, and that's something I just want to make very, very clear. If we are going to demand that people show the real them, the unedited version, the unposed version, if we're going to demand that that's what we want to see, we need to be very, very careful with the reactions that we give when we see, you know, unedited pap shots of someone that, you know, doesn't look how they normally look. Because, you know, it's happened to Kim, it happened to Courtney a few months ago, where some pictures came out and they were just normal pictures, like she looked like a normal woman, but because they didn't quite match up to how she might look in a posed picture on Instagram, she got so much backlash for it, a lot of body shaming and all that sort of stuff. That's not right. Like, I don't care whether someone edits their pictures into oblivion or not, that doesn't warrant them deserving being absolutely roasted for how they actually look. It's no surprise that people edit when that's the kind of reactions we get. So if we want to see more real bodies online, less editing, we need to be careful with how we react to seeing those images of real bodies in real time, unposed, unedited. That was just a little side note. So I edited this picture of me in a bikini from when I went on holiday. This was one of the worst ones. Wow, the body dysmorphia was strong with this one. Oh my god, after I did the edit, I was like, I don't like the original picture anymore. It's so bad, like so bad. So as you can see, I'm doing the classic. I'm pulling in the waist. That's what most people on Instagram do. And as you can see, as I'm pulling in the waist, that wall is bending in towards my waist. It wasn't bent before. The water is also bending around my body. As much as I wish I was like Aqua Woman, I'm not. I then tried to edit my boob, but it didn't really pan out how I wanted to, so I kind of just left it. I then went in and brought my hips out, and as we can see, my hips are now so powerful that they've moved the bushes out of the way. Then I walked, and then I did the same on the other side just to try and even it out. You can't really tell too much on that side, and that's the before and after. So again, you've got the telltale signs, things are warping in around me, straight lines that were straight before are now kind of bent. A dead giveaway that isn't on any of these pictures is if someone's taken a picture on a horizon and you can see the horizon in the background, horizons are not bent. Like if someone's taken a bikini picture in front of the sea horizon is not going to be bent. There might be the odd wave in there, but it's not bent. If it's going like this and then dipping here, telltale sign of an edit. But they're the only edits that I actually did. Then, oh my god, one of my coaching clients sent me a video from TikTok. I'll try and find it, and if I can find it, I'll put it in here, which basically opened up a whole new can of worms, which I'm not gonna like analyze too much because I didn't know this app existed, and it's scary how hard it is to tell that someone has used this app. There is an app called PrettyUp. I'm not telling you that name so you can go and use it. I know that some people are literally going to use this video as like how not to edit your pictures and how to get away with it. That's unavoidable at this point. Do what you want. However, there is an app called PrettyUp, which now that I'm aware of it, I think quite a lot of people on TikTok do actually use, and it's scary how much you can do and it not look super fake. So this is basically an app where you can edit videos. You can edit your body in a video. I didn't know you could do this. I've watched James Welsh's videos, which, by the way, if you've not seen his Instagram versus reality series, it's amazing because he's actually used to be a photographer. He's got that background and he really knows his shit. He's spoken about the Kardashians using body filters and shown like a few times, like Kim's used one on like, I think it was the recent Balenciaga ad she did, and you can see where it glitches. But I didn't know that this was something that people could actually have access to as like a, I thought that was like millions of dollars worth of equipment. No, this app makes it very like achievable. So this, oh my god, I really hate that I did this because yeah, again, this is just not good for my brain. So I edited a boomerang of myself. This boomerang, when I took it, I was like, wow, I actually really like that. And shock horror, now I don't like it anymore because I've done this to it. So I put it in the app. I edited my body basically. I think I made my shoulders more narrow. I made my waist more narrow. I brought my hips out. I did a couple of other things, but basically this is the result. And then the original will show in a second. That's the original. That's the edit. That was the original versus the edit, and that's a video. Now, I'm not going to analyse that too much because I actually don't know the telltale signs of that one. I just want to make people aware that, because sometimes when people get called out on very obvious editing, they'll upload a video and they'll be like, this is how I actually look, like video, no filter. I can't even trust that now, can we? Because people can edit the videos. So even more reason to just take everything that you're seeing online with a very, very, very big pinch of salt. So yeah, I think that is this video pretty much done. I want to reiterate a couple of things. First of all, to people who do edit their pictures, like, I don't blame people for editing it, especially as women. I mean, men have it too, but like the pressure to look like you've just been fresh back from Turkey with a BBL, which, by the way, even people that have BBLs then edit their pictures to look even more BBL-ish. Like the cycle never ends. There's an insane pressure to look smaller or to look bigger depending on what culture you're in, because like the beauty standard is not global. It does it does change depending on where you are. There's an immense pressure on women to live up to like completely unattainable standards. I understand why people edit. I can understand why people do something without, you know, agreeing that it's right. And I don't mean like morally right, I just mean like mentally for the individual, plus the people that are then consuming their content. It's not healthy. All the research points towards that, which I went over at the start. It's not a healthy behaviour to engage in, but I am by no means judging people who do it. You know, people have some very, very, very strong opinions on plastic surgery. I've had 2 plastic surgeries. I've had filler in my lips. I know how it feels to have insecurities and to want to change them. I'd never judge someone for having an insecurity. Like I said, the main reason with this video was just because I get so many girls who come to me and they want to look like someone who doesn't even look like that. Like, the editing that we are seeing nowadays is like, it's just obscene. And I feel like I grew up in a time where, like, I've never looked at a magazine once ever in my life ever and thought, oh, I'm gonna compare myself to that, because I've always known, like, I've just grown up knowing that's edited, it's not real. And then social media's come in, and I feel like it's only really very recently that people are starting to get clued up to the fact that it's not just magazines that are editing, it's influencers, it's your normal Tom, Dick and Harry. Everyone's at it, but just because everyone is at it, it doesn't mean you need to join in, and it also doesn't mean that it's a healthy behaviour to engage in. And like I said at the start, the purpose of this video is not so you can go and bombard people with hate or, you know, call people out really viciously and be really malicious. There's a reason why I used my own content for this video, and that is because, like I said, the people that are editing, they have insecurities. The last thing I want to do is compound that by calling them out for editing. So please do not take the information that I've given you in this video and use it to attack people and make people who are already probably really struggling feel even more shit about themselves, because it's not fair, it's not something I agree with. And that's why I didn't name the man who's doing the red line thing, because I understand the argument that, you know, in editing your pictures and, you know, if you do have a big following, there is a responsibility. I completely agree with that. And you are then impacting how people feel about themselves through you editing yourself. But also, we're all human. Like, regardless of following, people still have insecurities. And I just don't want to ever compound that. So what I want you to do with this video is basically just take everything that I've said, look into editing, watch people like James Welsh who make really, really good videos on telltale signs of editing, and then you can consume your content on social media in a healthier way. Because I'm sorry, but it is not healthy to have 14, 15, 16-year-old girls growing up, scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through Instagram, wondering why they don't look like the people that they're following, even some of their friends that they're following, who they are obviously going to draw an even closer comparison to, not knowing that these images are often heavily edited. And I'm not talking about a filter, I'm talking about literally changing your body shape, changing your facial shape, all that sort of stuff. I focus more on body in this one because, like I said, I'm coming from a fitness perspective, fitness influencer perspective, but there's definitely a lot of facial editing that goes on as well. But I just don't really have, it's not that I don't have as much interest in it, I still think it's really interesting. I actually just don't know the telltale signs. Other than a face app, I can spot a face app from a mile away, but I'm sure we all can now. We've seen the TikToks, we've seen the Facebook posts, the Instagram comparisons. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this video here. If anyone has any thoughts that they want to share, comment them down below, because I'm definitely open to a open discussion on this topic, because I feel like people have some very strong opinions. You know, if you have an even stronger opinion than mine, that's fine. Feel free to share it. If you think that editing is not a problem at all, that's fine. Feel free to share it. If you've got any opinion, I'm open to having an open discussion about it. But yeah, I am going to leave this video here. I probably will post a bit more on editing and all that sort of stuff on my Instagram, which is just amyrookes, if you want to follow me on there and you're not already. But yeah, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want a little bit more content like this sprinkled in here and then. I do primarily do fitness, but I've really not enjoyed doing this video. It just felt like a video with a bit more purpose, a bit more substance, and so I've definitely enjoyed doing it. Subscribe if you want to and you haven't already, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.